trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
Right now at noon, the weather. Some snowflakes out there this morning. Nothing really sticking here in Providence, as we see from our Skycam shot this noontime. Chelsea's in the Weather Center with more in your first forecast. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey, Doreen. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, everyone. We're looking at some snow showers that have been coming down for a little while now. It was really warm this morning. We started with rain. I do have a couple images to share with you, though. This is 95 at Exit 5 out in West Greenwich. You can see a good coating of snow in those locations along the highway. Things obviously moving along just fine. Pavement is just wet, but we did see a little bit more snow falling a little bit sooner for areas farthest to the west. At this point, things are starting to wind down. You can see northwest Rhode Island starting to see that snow come to an end. Still dealing with some light snow showers in the Providence area along the coastline and continuing to push into southeastern Mass. But overall, we're going to continue to dry out and eventually clear out as we head through the later part of the day. You can see where it's still snowing. The visibility is down to 1.5 miles in Providence, 1 mile in Newport, 1.25 miles for Block Island, 2 miles in Westerly. But inland, you can see visibility is now up to 9 miles in Smithfield. Things are winding down and clearing out. Yagu, a nice fresh coating of snow on top of the man-made snow, but you can see that coating there along the paths. Certainly welcomed there. What we're looking at now are temps in the low 30s. We started the day in the low 40s, so the temperatures have been slowly dropping. We had our highest temperature in the early morning hours, and as we clear out tonight, temperatures are going to plummet. I'll have much more in just a few minutes. Doreen?
Chelsea, thank you. Big local political news this afternoon. Rhode Island House Speaker Joe Shekarchi ruling out a run for Congress. In a statement, the Democrat said that he will be staying put on Smith Hill and representing the people of Warwick. There was plenty of speculation that he might run when Representative Jim Langevin announced he is not running for re-election in 2022. Republican Bob Lancia is the only candidate to officially declare his campaign for the seat. And a big bit of political news out of Massachusetts today as well. It is now official. AG Maura Healey is running for governor. She made a stop in East Boston this morning to formally make that announcement. And Casey Cantz has more on what her message to voters will be here. Casey?
Maureen, as the clock struck 6 a.m. this morning, the simple words of "I'm all in" hit Twitter feeds across the greater Massachusetts area and beyond. The state's attorney general since 2014, Maura Healey, now looking to take that next step and become the state's next governor. Along with that tweet this morning was a video where Healey proclaims unity and aiming to get the economy back on track and also making child care more affordable, among other proposals. Then later in the morning, she made an in-person appearance in East Boston at an MBTA station there to officially kick off her campaign. Here's some of what she had to say.
This state and its people have endless capacity to do great things. We're in a hard time now, but we're going to get through it. And we're going to go on, and we're going to build forward in ways that we can't even imagine right now. That's what excites me. And that's what I want to bring to this as your next governor.
So here's what the 2022 gubernatorial landscape looks like. Healey now joins two other women in the Democratic primary, Danielle Allen and State Senator Sonia Chang Diaz. Governor Charlie Baker has already announced he is not running for re-election. Only one Republican on the ticket currently, that being former State Rep Jeff Deal. Live in the newsroom today, Casey Cantz, ABC6.
All right, Casey, thank you. And news from the State House. It's budget day in Rhode Island. Governor Dan Mckee releasing his 2023 budget this afternoon. As part of his State of the State address Tuesday night, he noted that it will include how he plans to spend the $1 billion left in the American Rescue Plan funds. He also said we could expect spending on affordable housing, early education and child care, schools, construction, infrastructure projects, and support for small businesses. We'll wrap up the budget for you on ABC6 News first at 4. And now to our coverage of the coronavirus, and help has arrived at one Rhode Island hospital. Emergency medical personnel sent through FEMA are now inside Kent Hospital, assisting amid the Omicron surge. But as hospitals struggle with staffing and patient care, the big question moving forward, is it enough? ABC6 News reporter Laura Puglisi is live with more from outside the hospital. Laura?
Well, Doreen, I asked that very question to the interim president here at Kent Hospital. The Health and Medical Task Force team just arrived here yesterday at a time he says they really needed help here. And of course, it is that federal help that's finally here and made it our way to the area. And like you said, the big question moving forward, did it make a difference?
FEMA help now will get us through this hump, no question, and we'll be back to normal operations pretty quickly because of that.
A hopeful outlook from Dr. Pari Gopalakrishnan. The interim president of Kent Hospital says the little help went a long way in what's been the most challenging 2 weeks of the pandemic.
Yesterday was the first night, and everybody in the hospital, the morale's gone up. Just the fact that we have extra help, and I'm really optimistic that in 2 weeks, when they're exiting, we'll be in shape to be really restarting surgeries and these other things.
The extra hands come at an integral time. Kent Hospital received about 17 clinical staff members between paramedics, LPNs, nurses, and physicians. Next week, another team will arrive to help at Rhode Island Hospital.
We've struggled the last couple of weeks because we have staff that get COVID or get exposed, and we have to keep them out for a little while, and that's put a lot of strain on our hospital.
Kent Hospital recently made national headlines in the Washington Post, where patients described what they called a nightmare situation and an emergency department overwhelmed with COVID patients. Patients told the Post they spent 10+ hours sitting with other infected patients waiting for care. But Dr. Gopalakrishnan says patient care has not suffered.
It highlights some vulnerabilities in every hospital. I think I would say, I have a different view of it. I think, our staff have really stepped up pretty tremendously through this all. Anybody that's come in here with an emergency has gotten taken care of. Wait times across this country are long.
He says the hospital has tried to alleviate strains to the best of their ability. There's a tent outside with 10 extra beds, and they've halted all elective surgeries for at least 2 weeks. He thinks federal help will make a difference and hopes the surge is beginning to slow down.
Next 2 weeks, I expect to be in much better shape from the surge in the community, as well as we get our staff members back. And at that time, the FEMA staff kind of exit.
And until they get back on their feet, he says you can expect longer wait times, especially for non-emergency needs. And he says if you do have a non-emergency need that you need to be seen for, to first go to your family doctor before heading here to the hospital. Reporting live in Warwick, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC6 News.
Laura, thank you. Also today, Rhode Island cities and towns will begin distributing at-home COVID tests secured by the state. A long list of municipalities participating, including South Kingstown, Barrington, North Providence, East Providence, Pawtucket, and Central Falls. You can see the mayor's tweet there. Different rules in different places, though, on who's eligible for a kit. For example, it's just senior students and the immunocompromised in East Providence, so it's best to check with your town first before driving to grab a kit. And the Attorney General's office and the Department of Health here in Rhode Island will hold a public hearing today to discuss the potential merger of Lifespan and Care New England. That meeting will be virtual, and there'll be a public comment period. The merger application was deemed complete by the AG's office last month. The goal is for Lifespan and Care New England to create an integrated academic health system along with Brown University. Opposition to the plan was a centerpiece of House Minority Leader Blake Phillippe's Republican response to Governor Mckee's State of the State on Tuesday night. Also today, the URI Board of Trustees will meet for the first time since the president asked them to revoke the honorary degrees of 2 high-profile Republicans. The Providence Journal reports that URI President Mark Parlane wants Rudy Giuliani and General Michael Flynn's honorary degrees revoked. He cites Flynn's guilty plea to 2 counts of lying to the FBI and says Giuliani encouraged, quote, domestic terrorist behavior at a rally that preceded the 2020 Capitol riot. Flynn is a Rhode Island native. Well, still to come here on ABC6 News at noon. Voting rights legislation falling short in the Senate. The complicated breakdown of how this came to fail in advance. And later, Joe Biden marking 1 year in office. The challenges the president still faces moving forward. Plus, ongoing tension in the Ukraine could impact your wallet. How a Russian invasion could mean a spike in already high oil and gas prices. Now to some national political news today at noon. New voting rights legislation has fallen short. All Senate Republicans and 2 Democratic senators oppose changing the Senate's filibuster rules to pass it, angering many voting rights advocates. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more.
A stinging defeat for Democrats on voting rights.
The yeas are 52, the nays are 48.
Every Senate Republican plus Democrats Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin blocking an attempt to pass a far-reaching voting rights and election reform bill by changing the Senate's filibuster rules.
Eliminating the filibuster would be the easy way out. It wasn't meant to be easy.
We're not going to fracture the institution to achieve some short-term advantage.
The expansive bill would have made Election Day a federal holiday, expanded access to early and mail-in voting, and limited partisan gerrymandering. After the vote, Republicans who called the bill federal overreach lining up to congratulate Sinema. National Urban League President Mark Morial telling ABC News the bill's defeat is a loss for voters of color and other voting groups like the elderly, who face restrictive new voting laws in at least 19 states.
What does it mean that 2 Democrats and all Republicans oppose this bill?
For the 52 who said no, we are going to continue to demand, advocate, have their constituents put pressure on them for them to change their course.
In a statement, President Biden said he's profoundly disappointed, but not deterred. Without offering specifics, Vice President Harris insisting on GMA, the administration will take additional steps to protect the right to vote.
Well, we're not going to give up on legislation because ultimately that is one of the most important aspects of what we must do to correct what has been happening in the various states.
President Biden sounded optimistic about a bipartisan deal to modernize how electoral college votes are counted, but any changes to that law would only affect presidential elections. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Well, coming up next, President Biden sits down to reflect on his first year in office, his proudest accomplishments, and the challenges he still faces in the year ahead. And Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney seeking a new trial. Why one juror's post-trial interview could be grounds for a retrial. One year ago today, President Joe Biden took the oath of office, and there are some big challenges that loom over his second year. COVID-19, inflation, the Ukraine-Russia crisis, and still lingering questions over the U.S. pullout from Afghanistan. But he says he's looking to switch up his approach.
Number one, I'm going to get out of this place more often. I'm going to go out and talk to the public. Number two, I'm also going to be out there seeking the advice of experts outside, from academia to editorial writers to think tanks. And the third thing, I'm going to be deeply involved in these off-year elections.
The latest Gallup poll shows the president is only pulling in a 40% approval rating. That is his lowest to date. And a conflict on the other side of the world might impact your wallet. If Russia invades Ukraine, it could cost you more to fill up your gas tank. Russia is the second largest oil producer in the world behind the United States. Ukraine, a key energy transit hub, sees a large amount of gas flow through there to Europe. An invasion could impact the infrastructure, but it could also compel the U.S. to sanction Russia's energy resources. And lawyers for Ghislaine Maxwell are asking the court for a new trial. They filed a motion for a new trial due to a juror's post-trial interview. Maxwell was convicted of 5 federal charges, including sex trafficking of a minor. One juror revealed after the trial that he was sexually abused as a child, which could mean he failed to answer a juror questionnaire honestly. Although those records are still sealed, no word on when the judge will rule.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Light snow still falling across the area. It's starting to come to an end for areas farthest inland and going to continue to push down to the southeast as we head through the coming hours and eventually will dry out. This all came from a cold front that came through overnight. Behind the cold front, we have this light precipitation, not really sticking to any of the roadways. But of course, whenever there's some precipitation, you want to be careful. Visibility is certainly down in some spots. What we're looking at over the course of the area today is certainly improving conditions as the day goes on. We're going to end up with a little bit drying, and then temperatures are going to drop really quickly as we head through tonight. You're going to continue to see clearing conditions as we head through the day. You're looking over Block Island right now, though, and visibility is still certainly restricted. Visibility down to less than a mile in some locations with that light snow falling. Temperature-wise, we are in the low 30s range. We started the day in the 40s, so it was a very mild morning. We had our high temperature of the day happening in the early morning hours, and now those temperatures are dropping down around freezing. So you want to watch for some slick spots as we head through the later part of today, this evening, and overnight. Breezes coming in from the north, 5 to 15 miles per hour, and that wind is going to start to make us feel cooler and bring in really chilly temperatures overnight. Temperatures will continue to drop after dark, eventually down into the low teens tomorrow morning. By about 9 or 10 o'clock, those feel like temperatures down into the low teens and single digits by tomorrow morning. Bitterly cold. I'll show you that forecast in just a minute. Satellite radar loop over the past 6 hours shows you that we've had some rain and some snow continuing to push through the area and moving southeast, and that will continue to be the case over the course of the next few hours. We'll clear out and we become completely clear overnight as this frontal system continues to push off to the east. Futurecast is going to show you what we're talking about. Snow is winding down right now. We eventually clear out completely overnight, and most of us stay pretty sunny for the day tomorrow, with the exception of some ocean-enhanced snow showers that you can see over far eastern Mass and the Cape. The wind is going to be just right coming in over the water, and there may be some accumulation for areas in far eastern Mass through the day tomorrow. Overall in Providence, we're looking at mainly sunny conditions. We're clear overnight as we head into Saturday. A couple flurries around along the coastline on Saturday. This heads to that offshore system stays pretty far away from us, and we end up with just a cold weekend. Mid-30s today. The snow is winding down. We have late day clearing. The breeze comes in from the north, and temperatures dip down to the low teens by tomorrow morning. It's going to be very, very cold. Overnight, with even just a light breeze, those feel like temperatures coming down around 0 to below 0 at times. This is 7 o'clock in the morning, so be prepared for a very cold start to the day tomorrow. And we don't warm up a ton tomorrow. It'll be mainly sunny and chilly. High temperatures only in the low to mid 20s. 7-day forecast shows temperatures that are going to stay in the 20s as we head into Saturday. On Sunday, in the mid 30s after a cold start to the day. Watching a system for Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. Doreen?
Chelsea, thank you. Well, still to come, a new safety feature coming to Snapchat, how it aims to safeguard teens from using the platform. And Coca-Cola sprucing up some of its can designs when those new packages will hit the shelves. In consumer news today, Instagram is testing its new subscriptions feature. It allows creators to offer their followers paid access to exclusive live videos and stories. The 10 creators involved must decide how much to charge for their exclusive content. It's unclear how long this test will run. And Snapchat has launched a new safeguard limiting the number of friend suggestions offered to teenagers using the platform. Now teens will only receive a suggestion if they have a certain number of friends in common with that person. The feature is designed to block drug dealers from connecting with minors. And parents are complaining about a new social media trend called the One Chip Challenge. The company Mckee asks people to eat a single chip covered in hot sauce and peppers and then share your reaction to eating it. Well, some kids are ending up in the emergency room as the peppers on the chip are about 400 times hotter than a jalapeno. And some Coke cans are getting a makeover. The company is unveiling a brand new look this month for both its Cherry Coke and Vanilla Coke flavors, as well as its zero caffeine options. The new packages will start to hit shelves in late January. When we come back, the youngest woman to fly across the globe, completing her journey, the challenges she faced along the way. Plus, Chelsea has another look at your afternoon forecast. We'll be right back. A 19-year-old is now the youngest woman to fly around the world solo. Zara Rutherford landed in Western Belgium today after completing an epic 41-country journey. But it wasn't without its challenges. Rutherford had a visa and weather issues in both Alaska and Russia. That set her back 8 weeks. She also had to make an unscheduled landing in California because of the western wildfires. But Rutherford completed her journey. She is now the first woman to circumnavigate the world in a micro-light aircraft. So impressive.
No kidding.
And the dedication to it, too.
Right?
Chelsea.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Good for her. Awesome. We are looking at improving conditions in terms of the snow showers, but the temperatures are going to be dropping as the day goes on. By tomorrow morning, we're going to be waking up with temps that are down into the low teens and single digits. Factor in even just a light breeze. We feel closer to 0. Tomorrow's day is mainly sunny and cold. Temperatures only in the mid-20s. Some ocean-enhanced snow showers tomorrow out towards the Cape, but the Providence area should stay mainly sunny. A few coastal flurries again on Saturday. Partly sunny as we head into Sunday with temperatures a little bit more seasonable into the mid-30s. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, thank you. And thank you for joining us for the news at noon. The news continues first at 4. Have a great day.